So, this is very exciting. So I have the amazing Peyton Tucker here to talk to me. So I'm going to let Peyton tell you a little bit about herself.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Jen. My name is Peyton Tucker, for anyone that may not know me. I am originally from Washington State, in a very small town that has one stoplight. I don't think they'll ever add another. So that's where I come from. I recently, as of 6 months ago now, I moved from Nashville, Tennessee to LA. And ever since I got to LA, I have been, by the grace of God, I've been a full-time actress on these vertical series. So yeah, super excited to be here. Super excited to be sitting down with you, Jen. You're like the vertical drama queen. So I was really looking forward to it. And yeah, I can't wait to dive in, and thank you for having me.
So, on the verticals then, had you heard of them before you applied and got the first role?
For a great question. No, I did not hear of verticals. Coming from the Southeast, they were coming alive in Atlanta at the time. I just was unaware of that. I've never heard of them. I didn't get auditions for them. I was doing some short films. I did a feature in the Southeast as well. And then being in Nashville, I did a lot of music videos and stuff like that. So I did not get the word of mouth about the verticals at all until I got to LA and got that audition for the very first one I did. So it was a very new world to me. All I really knew at the time when I came to LA and my agent sent it to me said that they were just mini series, and that's really all I knew. I never saw a vertical. And yeah, I was a complete lost puppy. I've never heard of it, which is ironic.
So your first role, I want to check, was in Hello, Let's Get Married as Maya.
Yes.
Slash
Yes.
possibly another name, but I don't want to ruin it in case you haven't watched it. Um, what did you think of the script? What were your impressions when you first got it?
Yeah, I'm such a hopeless romantic, so I loved the script as there were so many charming parts, and it was sweet, but there was action, and I love showing emotional range as well, and I felt like my character had that as she's reeling with kind of who she is and her identity. And so when I got it, I was really, really excited to dive in. I remember I printed every single page off. I was like, I'm not using my phone. I printed like the 120 pages off, and I started writing notes, and I loved the script, and I was really, really excited to play Maya. Because her character is just so sweet, but she's also kind of a bad A, if you will. so
That's
I was
partly why I
excited.
loved it. Yeah, because
Yeah, there was moments where Maya was, kind of a damsel in distress in many moments, if people have seen the project. But me and my director, definitely, her name is Tracy, and she's phenomenal. She wanted there to be layers of when Maya shows her strong side and shows up for herself. And so I love that I kind of got to do both in that script. So yeah.
So what was the experience like of just filming that fast? Sort of how did that compare to other work that you've done before?
Yeah, I always joke and say that verticals are like acting boot camp. And me, I had, once again, this being my first vertical, I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what I was going into. And so first day on set, and you're getting your sides the night before on what you're doing that day in the call sheet. So until the night before, you really don't know what you're starting with, and that's every night. Like, you get home from set, and it's like, okay, these are the scenes we're doing tomorrow. So it is acting boot camp, and they're throwing you in there, and it's sometimes 12-hour days, and you're working very fast. You have 15 pages of dialogue, and so on set kind of felt like a fever dream, if I'm honest, because it was my first experience in LA, and I was like, okay, I'm on a professional set. It's moving very fast. It's very technical. We're all kind of running around like crazy, but everyone is keeping it organized somehow. And so set life was so fun on that one. And I just remember looking around because I was so new to LA at that time. And I couldn't believe I was like getting paid to do this. Like I couldn't believe it was my job. It was such fun chaos, I guess, for me to start with. And so, yeah, everyone on set was incredible on that project. And yeah, for not knowing what to expect, I think I was slightly overwhelmed. There's a lot of times my director was like, have you seen a vertical before? And I was like, no, I've never watched a vertical. And so she took me aside and kind of talked about tone as well. Because I'm coming from like getting trained in film and television. And as we know, like the vertical soaps are a different tone in a different world. And so yeah, there was many things that I needed to kind of dive into that were brand new to me on set. And that's what made it so fun, is it was all new across the board.
And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people love about that is there's two great relationships in it. So
Yes.
obviously there's a relationship with your male lead JJ, but then there's also
Yes.
the relationship with Grandpa, which
I know.
everyone loves that. I love that. I got a bit obsessed. So can you talk a bit more about working with John and sort of how you built that bond?
Yes, of course. Yeah, from day one. I mean, we had a phenomenal cast on there. JJ Michaels, who I led it with, I got so lucky with him as well. And it was his first acting project in LA, and it was mine as well. So you have this where we're diving into this vertical world, being like, hey, I've never been here before, neither have I. Great, let's do it. And he was fantastic to work with. And then yes, we have John as well, who's done like so many verticals. He's like a professional. He's constantly on these sets. And so he really set the tone of the project for me. I'm sure maybe JJ would agree, is he was just such a professional. He takes it so seriously. He knows what he's doing. And John, like from the first time meeting him, he really did remind me of my actual grandpa. They have a lot of similar traits. So there was this beautiful connection between us on and off set. If we weren't filming in scenes together, we were joking and just laughing and having fun. And there was a really sweet moment between me and John that I'd like to share with everyone, because I have seen comments like, I love their connection. And I will say it was very genuine. What you saw on screen, we had those kind of emotional moments of John was very encouraging with me when we weren't filming, and when we were just on set and had some downtime. He asked me how long I was acting, and we got into that conversation. And he said, there's something about, like, I've done this for a long time, and when I'm in a scene with someone, I look at their eyes and what they're feeling and if it's genuine. And he said, I've never felt anything on this project but you being genuine with me. And he was like, it's so easy to get emotional with you because it feels very, very safe. And he's like, I know you're just starting out in LA, but something of like being a scene partner with you and seeing that in you already, he's like, you're going to have such a good career. So it was like really having your encouraging like grandpa on set, or this wise man. And yeah, he just was so lovely and lifted me up. And since the project as well, we'll check in with each other. And so I love John, and I hope we get to work together again. He's fantastic.
Yeah, oh, that's so lovely. Now, I have to ask as
Yeah.
well, because one of the things that just sticks with me from that
Yeah.
project is obviously the slight bond that the two characters have over how they eat their cereal.
Yes.
I want to know what was in the bowls. Was it? I'm presuming it
It was
wasn't actually chocolate cereal and orange juice.
that is such oh, I love this question. It was chocolate cereal and orange juice. So,
That makes me so
yes.
happy.
Yes. So that wasn't fake. Exactly what was in the script. Someone on set went and got it because we were like, what are we gonna do? And I think our director was like, it's not gonna taste that bad. They're gonna eat the chocolate orange or the chocolate cereal and orange juice, and like their reactions will probably be pretty funny. So that was real, and we did eat it, and me and John decided that it really wasn't that bad. I'm pretty sure after they yelled cut, if I remember correctly, I saw John take another bite.
Okay, that's our
Like, hey,
exclusive. We've just
they
got.
yelled cut, but so it was in fact, yes, it was the real deal.
Another thing I wanted to ask you as well, being your first vertical, how did you find it with? Because obviously there's a very specific vertical look for like hair, makeup, fashion.
Yeah.
shoes. How did you find that, and how exhausting is it, to be honest? Because I've sort of talked to actresses before, and they said, you know, being in heels all day long is not easy.
Yeah. Oh man, that set. I do have these heels that me and them are not friends. Because if we go back to Hello, Let's Get Married, there is a scene right after Savannah, which is an iconic moment, and I loved working with Cassie as well.
Yeah.
Right when Savannah puts a cupcake on this fantastic dress of mine in good fashion, I have to run up these, and the camera goes to it. I don't know if the audience knows how big those stairs were,
Yeah.
but I have to run up this like spiral staircase, and we taped that scene for whatever reason. There's many reasons why we have to retake something,
Yeah.
but that specific scene, I think we did about 5 takes of it. It had a lot to do with the blocking, and the extras needed to come at the perfect time, and so I was in the most uncomfortable heels, unfortunately. No heels are comfortable, but these certainly, like, they were just not getting along with my feet. And I had to run up those flights of stairs 5 times in those heels. And by the end of the day, I was just like, I can't even feel my feet. I'm in so much pain.
Oh.
And everyone on set was like, we're so sorry. You should have said something. And I was like, nope, it's the name of the game. Like, it's business. So the heels can be the most crazy part on set, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing stunts or you're running or whatever. But I have so much respect for the Vertical girls who are rocking heels their entire project. I got lucky with my director. I'm a big Vans girl. I used to be like a skater in college, so I have a lot of Vans, and I got lucky towards the end of the project. My director would be like, can Peyton wear her Vans in this? Because they knew how uncomfortable the shoes were. And there's nothing wardrobe can do about the comfort of heels. And so they would talk amongst themselves, and they're like, yeah, I think Maya would wear Vans in this scene. And so I got to wear comfortable shoes half the project. So very thankful for that. And Maya's, every dress that Maya wears, I remember getting into it on set and with wardrobe, and I felt like I was going to prom again as an adult. And that was very exciting, is like trying on that pretty dress and going to an event. And so Maya's wardrobe I really, really loved. That might have been, well, When Love Comes Too Late, another project I did. I think they're tied for wardrobe for me, because I just thought all the costumes were, like, I would love to buy them all, and I would wear them again. So, yeah, I loved Maya's style.
See, so that's really handy, because now we can talk
Yeah.
about When Love Comes Too Late. So,
Yeah.
you've done your first vertical. It's a beautiful romance. You're the
Yes.
sweetest, loveliest character.
Thank you.
What happened, Peyton? What happened? Because if you
I came back for revenge.
It's too late. Peyton is possibly, when she plays Monica, one of the most psychotic characters to ever be on a vertical screen. And it's clever because it's not like a slap happy one, is it? It's not
No.
it's not sort of slapstick vertical.
No.
And I think that makes it more terrifying.
Yes.
That character is so clever, so manipulative, but it's much more subtle, and it's mind games. So,
Yes.
like, what was it like? How did you get that role and convince people you could do that? And
Yes.
just what was it like making and working like that?
So I'd like to, start from the beginning on this one, because everything you're saying is kind of why I got it. It was my last day of filming on Hello, Let's Get Married. And so I'm on set, and my agent calls me, and I didn't audition for this role, which is crazy when Love Comes Too Late. But my agent called me and said, hey, and Real Short is looking at footage from people's project. There's editing and stuff like that. So they got to see me act on this one, even though the footage wasn't out online. The team definitely got to see, okay, she's very sweet and she plays this, and that's great. And I want to say they did a casting process for When Love Comes Too Late, and it just wasn't working with what they were quite looking for. And their idea was, well, we've never really hired the sweet girl that no one would expect. to play the villain, because villains are very much in their own category and they're such rock stars. But usually they stay on the villain side in the vertical world, and the damsel in distress stay on theirs. And I guess their thought was, what if we combined the two and it would make it a little creepy? Is Peyton has this look about her that no one would expect, and we really want to play into that. So they called my agent, said, would she be interested in just like cold reading these lines for us when she gets off set tonight? And of course I was like, yeah, I would love to. And I'm a big horror fan, so like the thought of playing a villain, I was like, okay, I could have fun with this. And so cold read the lines and ended up booking it. And yeah, so it was kind of weird how I got it, but I think they were looking for, what have we not casted as a villain before, and who would come off a little subtle, like you said, like, oh, is this manipulation? Is she crazy? Like, we every day on set, me and my director were like, is there something else there? Like, there was no box for this character. And so yeah, I think it was kind of meant to be me and Monica, because once again, I was not in the original casting process for it, and it still ended up in front of me. And that was probably one of my favorite roles I've ever played, was Monica. So.
I mean, it's memorable. It's phenomenal as a role. And you're right as well, the
Thank you.
costumes are brilliant too.
Brilliant,
And how did you
yes.
find it? Because obviously you're acting, you've got a sort of child actor you're working with as well. Sort of how did you find that, of kind of playing into that role? Because actually I think the pair of you are brilliant, because
Oh,
it's just
thank
these
you.
moments where like you touch her shoulder and then like the pair of you are like, yeah, no, come and spend time with us, sort of Daddy Aaron. Or it's so clever. So I just
Yeah.
wondered how you built that bond and how you found that.
I was so blessed once again to work with. I've worked with such phenomenal people on these. Like the actors are they're just so great. But Candace, that was another thing I liked about When Love Comes Too Late, is it wasn't about a love story. I mean, it was about love and loss and grief. But when we got the script, we were like, oh, this is kind of a female-led project. And Candace, being the first lead, and it was her story, while I'm also just meddling in it the whole time. So I met Candace at the fitting, and right away, even doing a read-through, me and her developed definitely a good connection. And we also acknowledged how different we were, even in real life, where we were kind of polar opposites as far as just personality goes. Look-wise, we couldn't look more different. And so there was this really nice, almost yin and yang balance of us that we really wanted to play into. Is like, okay, these characters could not be more different, and we have a lot of beautiful differences as well. And like, let's lean into that. So although me and Candace loved working with each other so much in this project, you would never be able to tell in our scenes. That tension is always there between them. It was hard being so mean to her because she's so sweet. So on set, I just felt like oh my God, you're such a jerk every single day. But yeah, I loved leading it with Candace, and like a female. She's another one she's a vertical queen, has done so many projects, and it was good, it being my second project, to learn from her. I asked her many questions about the vertical world. She gave me a lot of good advice, and yeah, I think our dynamic in real life really helped with this project, and there was a comfortability where we were like, all right, let's play, like, let's lean into this. And yeah, it's definitely a project that you don't want to hold back anything.
No.
So she was wonderful, and our dynamic together, I think did a lot of good things for those roles.
And how do you find that when you're kind of in, obviously it's so heightened, like how easy is that at the end of the day to kind of just let all that go and sort of go back to being Peyton?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's funny you say that. There was a moment, the really intense scene with Lays as well. So that big scene of that took us so long to film, as it was very lengthy. But I was crying in that scene for a solid hour. And so I remember too, I think I like called a Celsius on set because all of us were like, we were so exhausted. It was the end of the day. And yeah, I just remember trying to give it everything I had emotionally. And after that scene was done, and I'm pretty sure like my face was like stained with tears and just my eyes are puffy. And I remember going to get dressed because I was going home for the day, and I just looked I looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, this is the craziest job because you just tried to murder someone upstairs. You cried for an hour. You're yelling at people like a crazy person. And then it's like, all right, cut. We're done for the day. We're going home. And you're just kind of looking at yourself like, what literally just happened? Like, what a psychopath up there. But also, I know that I'm in the right career because even with tears like staying on my face and my hair a mess and all these things, I really did feel so blessed to, once you come out of it, you're like, wow, I can't believe I get to do that. And although it is challenging in a lot of ways to give that much of yourself, that's what's so beautiful about the job is that we all love doing it and we do it for the people watching and all the support. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, especially after a character like that, Monica was the character I played where when I got home, it was self-care. Because she was so crazy. She took a lot of my energy. So yeah, a lot of face mask and like relaxing after I got home from set on that project because like, man, I needed it. So you really have to just touch back in with yourself and definitely rest after those scenes, the big ones, because you do feel it. So yeah, that's what I'll say is it takes a little bit to snap back. But once you do, you're like, man, I'm so grateful that I got to do that. So
I just think it's phenomenal as well that you've already managed to do two such different roles. Because as you said,
yeah,
sometimes in verticals, I know there's that thing where like viewers love you in a certain type of role and then you end up playing it a lot, and that can really
yeah,
vary whether you love it or you're a bit like, oh, I kind of want to do different things. So
yes.
you do those two roles and then you're like, let's do something different again.
I know I
Because
got really
you must
lucky
have
with
one of
this.
the widest ranges with, three roles. How different could they be?
Yeah,
Because now your most recent one that we've seen is Take Me Hades, I'm Dying, which
yes.
some of the clue of what it's about is in the I'm Dying. So obviously there's a big powerful
Yes.
storyline there. And then as you're playing Dakota, obviously it goes to quite a place and there's some quite different costumes. So just kind of how did you
Yes.
find that? What was your experience there?
I love the conversation of the transitions for projects because yeah, I do feel very I was very excited to go from Maya to Monica. I was like, okay, this is great. These projects are back to back and this is going to show range. And then when Take Me Hades, I'm Dying showed up on my desk as well in that script, I was like, ooh, this is for anyone that has seen it, but also for anyone that is not. This script has a lot of layers. It's the story goes around my character Dakota James, who is terminally ill, and her mom passed away from a similar thing. And while being terminally ill, she's keeping this a secret from everyone, which you can imagine there's a lot going on in that as well. And then, as if that wasn't enough, her sister gets wrapped up with a bunch of bad people. And because Dakota is her sister's basically parent figure, she tries to solve everything, be the hero of the story, while at the same time balancing this secret relationship with her boss. So there is so many layers to this script. And Real Short, who has been phenomenal to work with, they did make it very clear, like, this role is a little risky. This role is a little darker than some of them. We're gonna take some risk in some area, and if that's something that if you feel comfortable doing, let's do it. And I've always been a firm believer that your comfort zone will kill you. My studio in Nashville, my instructor has that literally painted on the wall when you walk in. And so I think it's just kind of been nailed in my brain is, yes, you have to know what you're comfortable with doing. And at the same time, if something's going to push you out of your comfort zone, I am an artist that does want to lean into that. And this was the perfect project to do it in. So yeah, I was aware that it was a risk, but I was excited to take it, and it ended up being such a fun project. But it was a jump from, damsel in distress villain to now you have this like sexy hero terminally character.
Yeah.
Um,
I always think it's quite oh, what's the word? Phantom of the Opera. Mask
yes.
has. It's quite Phantom, isn't it? That's what it reminds me of.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and that's a whole nother layer is we're
Yeah.
really in this project, we're going into these two worlds where people are not themselves and they're leaning into this other world and yeah, it's interesting. There's so many layers to it.
What was it like working with Spencer? Because obviously that's sort of quite an intense sort of relationship that you both have as leads to
Yes.
something you get thrown into.
Yes. I got really lucky working with Spencer on this one. Spencer's such a great guy. Like when you meet him, his energy is fantastic. He's definitely a gentleman, and that's something when we met each other at the wardrobe and the script read. I remember taking kind of like a deep breath when I met him, where I was like, okay, he's a gentleman because the script is intense on intimacy. Um, so therefore, I really wanted, and I haven't worked with anyone that's not this way, but I really wanted a very respectful guy. And meeting him right off the bat, I was like, okay, we're gonna be good. Like there's a safe place here. He's a really nice guy. It was his first vertical, was that project. So if you
Yeah.
think about it, that's an
You were the
intense
old hand
vertical.
coming in. You were giving the advice.
Yeah, like yeah, it's an intense one to hop in. And so I definitely I was happy that I had two verticals under my belt so that I got to kind of answer his questions of the tone and stuff like that. But yeah, he was so great to work with, and I believe he is still doing some verticals here and there, so I think you'll see more of Spencer as well. But we had so much fun on set. He was a great partner, and once again, it was just such a total safe place between us two, and it needed to be.
Yeah.
So yes, very, very thankful that I got to lead the project with Spencer as well.
If I can ask about that, did you have intimacy coordinators on set, and kind of how does that relationship work, and kind of what do having them on set bring for you as an actress?
Yes, I am so thankful for intimacy coordinators. I really couldn't imagine doing any of the verticals without an intimacy coordinator and haven't had to. Because they're such an important job and they're such rock stars. You work with the best intimacy coordinators on set, and their job really is to communicate things that maybe you don't feel comfortable to, or just their main thing is making you feel as safe as possible. So the intimacy coordinator will even get on the phone with you before the project ever starts, and we'll go through the intimacy scenes, and she'll be like, hey, is there anything that you're super not comfortable with? And of course, our goal as actors is not to completely rewrite the script. I'm sure a lot of us would love to, but we still have to think about, okay, what's the tone of the project, and how can I deliver that tone while also, if I'm not comfortable with something, maybe tweak a few things here and there. So we do the tweaks on the phone if there is any. They're the ones that communicate it to the director. You never have to really worry about that. And then when it comes down to, you don't see the intimacy coordinator until intimacy days. So they're like popping in and out of set, like, all right, here's another day of, kissing, and we're back. And so what they'll do is they'll get the two leads together. Sometimes we'll do exercises as well, just kind of like safe exercises, which I think is really cool that they do. Just making sure that there's a comfortability before the scene starts. And then what people don't really get to see, but it's the way of film and series and stuff like that, is all the scenes do look very romantic and very, sexy, if you will. But because an intimacy coordinator is blocking the entire thing, we're going like step by step on what this is going to look like. Even sometimes how many kisses you're going to do. That's not on every single set, but some intimacy coordinators are that technical. Which is great, because then it makes our job as actors very easy. On now we're just being directed, and actors are good at that. So even though it's a different setting with intimacy, because it's blocked out in a certain way, it does feel just like another scene, but there's definitely weight to it, because you are trying to respect someone else and intimacy, and while also leaning into the chemistry that the audience wants to see. Is we have to create that. So yeah, intimacy coordinators have been on every set that I've been on, and I could not imagine doing it without them.
Wow.
So yeah, very, very thankful for that step as well. It's a huge, huge job on these sets.
Thank you so much for explaining that so beautifully.
Yeah.
You did mention something about writing there. Is that sort of in the future? Have you got, is that something you'd be interested in, sort of writing or producing? Have you got ideas around that?
I don't know about, well, maybe writing. I've always been a writer, but a thought that I've had, and maybe you'll see me tap into this in the future, I would love to direct. So if I was ever going to take a back seat from acting, on one of these, I would love to get behind the camera. The directors I've worked with, there's been many scenes where, on long days on set, we all get stumped and we're kind of locked in the shot, and we're like, how are we going to make this work? And when I feel like it's appropriate to do so, if I have an idea, I'll share that with a director. I've had a couple directors I've worked with, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks, where I was like, oh, but they were like, have you ever directed before? And I was like, no. And they said, well, you have a really good eye. And I've heard that multiple times on these sets now, where I went home at the end of the night and I was like, I kind of would love to, as an artist, even though acting is like my child and my baby, and I've spent so much time and so much money on training, and so me and acting are committed at this point. But I would love to just expand, my roles in this art. And I think directing would be the thing you guys would see me in if I'm not acting. I would love to go down that route or try it out.
Yeah. Okay, so
And
that's Watch
verticals
This
to be-
Space. We've put it in the universe. That's the Watch This Space. It happened.
Yeah.
So now we're obviously, this is wonderful. We've done such a good pattern. Now we're going to talk about the future. So obviously, you filmed. Have you got at least one vertical that's not out, or is it two?
I actually have two right now that I just received the trailer for one, and I am so excited about it. It's called Falling for the Nanny, and unfortunately I don't know where it's streaming. I did at one time, and now I think there is conversation that it might go on other platforms now. So I wish I could tell you where to watch it, but I can't at the moment. But that should be out very soon, and it's a surprise to all of us where it's dropping. I've heard a couple streaming platforms. I've heard a couple vertical platforms be dropped in the conversation. What I will say is, for a vertical, this looks very cinematic. I think that's kind of the hold on it, is like, oh, we made something very almost film-like, but it is vertical, and now what do we do with it? So it's a really cute project. It's called Falling for the Nanny. I'm the nanny. We have like the most adorable child actor in this project, and you guys are gonna love her. She's the cutest thing. I got to lead it with a very good guy. His name's Bradley. And yeah, we're really excited for it to come out. The team was amazing. The crew was amazing. But we'll have to wait and see on where. So that's a secret to all of us. And then I did just get off set about 2 weeks ago now on a project called Con Crush. Very excited for this one. It's going to be streaming on the app Bigloo. And I filmed it with Puppy Love Productions. And the whole project is based off. It's going to be pretty new when it comes to verticals. I've never seen a vertical be done like this. It takes place in one weekend. There's no wedding. There's no violence. There's no typical. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. It's an original script, and actually the director is the one who wrote it, which is
Wow.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you never get that on a vertical. So not only did we have the writer on set, but he actually directed
Mm.
it as well. His name's Andrew, and he was so passionate about it. And so yeah, we filmed this with Puppy Love Productions, which I could not say enough good things about. It was a fantastic set, and it's about basically having almost a fantasy come true of if you got together with your celebrity crush over a weekend, and
Mm.
how that plays out. And in this instance, it's a kind of like a Comic-Con event.
Yeah.
So it's less about that, but for anyone who's interested in stuff like that, I think they would
Mm.
really like this project as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a new look. It's a rom-com.
Yeah.
So it's a comedy, and I think people are gonna absolutely love it. I'm so excited for it to come out, and that should be coming out sometime next month.
Amazing.
So
And that's the one
yeah,
you did with Ethan.
yes,
Because you have, if people need to go check out your Instagram, because there are some, you're in this most stunning, sort of almost flapper style blue dress.
yes.
Is that from that
Oh,
one?
yes, the wardrobe, the hair and makeup and wardrobe on Con Crush is going to blow everyone's mind, because I'm serious. I've never had my makeup done like that in my entire life. The wardrobe stylist, her name's Rosio, and she was fantastic. And so that's another thing, is a lot of things about this project are going to catch people's eye because you haven't really seen it yet vertically.
Yeah.
Not in the same style, not the tone, not the story. It's going to really stand alone. And yes, I led that with Ethan, and I will say it is a rom-com. So maybe that's what enhanced this,
Mm.
but that was maybe one of the funniest sets I've ever been on. We were laughing the entire time. Everyone was just in such good spirits and good mood, the whole production. And yeah, me and Ethan were like crying laughing between takes. So I can't wait for people to
Yeah.
see this project, because we love it. So
Was that fun getting to do a comedy? Because obviously your roles have actually they've been quite intense, haven't they? Was that
yes.
nice to do a totally different approach?
Yes, I always joke with people and say I'm a comedian, if that says anything. So I crack myself up. I'm a very humorous, like very goofy person. So right when I heard it was a rom-com, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my time to shine. I've been ready. I've been preparing since I was little. I just love joking and being lighthearted. So honestly, I would love to do 100 more rom-coms if I could. If I could cast myself in those, I would.
Mm.
'Cause yeah, and like you said, it was a good break from going from Take Me Hades, I'm Dying, which is a very serious role, to Con Crush, which is very lighthearted, very fun, still very romantic, but we really did just have so much fun with it, and we laughed the entire
Mm.
time. So I think I needed that lightheartedness.
Mm.
It was a good change.
It kind of made me wonder actually, because how much space is there, particularly in something like the comedy, with like improvisation with the script? Because I know when I've followed up with people and said, "Oh, I loved that line," then I will get a reply back from someone saying, "Oh, that was improvised. They just did that when they were, being dragged out of the scene or whatever." So,
Yeah.
is there much room for that for you?
I think it really just kind of depends on the certain set it is, and if the director or if the writer kind of made a note that is like, we want to stay pretty close to the script, then you won't see much of that.
Yeah.
But most of the time on these vertical sets, which is nice, you can kind of make the script and your character your own. So when it comes to improvising, I've definitely seen it done. I've done a few myself. But I would say I don't think it happens on every single set, depending on, how strict the writing is
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But on these verticals, they're so fun to play with. And sometimes you get the script and you're like, I don't know how I would even say that in a confident way. And that's when you
Yeah.
get with your director and you're like, hey, can I just add this or try this out? And I would say 9 times out of 10, the director's like, yeah, sure, let's see how it sounds. And then if they end up keeping it, obviously they liked it. So there is room to play on these verticals, but I think it does depend on who the writer is and who the director is and how much room there is for it. But it is possible. It is possible to tweak a few things.
Thank you so much. So I do have to ask, we need a skating vertical, don't we?
Oh, we do. We need a skating vertical.
Because that's one of the things I want to find out everyone's hidden talents, and if you could talk a bit about your skating background, and we can, we can do the pitch now that we need Peyton in the skating vertical.
Perfect. Yeah, that's such a good idea. Actually, I'm sure the younger boys or whatever would be so into the tomboy aspect of it. But yeah, my brother skated when he was younger, and growing up in a small town, we happened to have a really good skate park. So there wasn't a lot to do, but you could go skate. And my mom was pretty strict, and when I brought up that, hey, you want to, go hang out at the skate park with the cool kids, my mom said, you will not be going to the skate park unless you skateboard. This is not a hangout spot, and all my friends got to hang out there, so I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to skateboard. And that's how it started, is I really just wanted to go hang out with the cool kids and my older brother and his friends. And so my mom bought me everything and told my brother, okay, you're going to teach her how to skateboard. And for anyone who's skateboarded, no one can really teach you. You can watch other people do it, but it's up to you and your balance and how much you trust yourself. And so, yeah, my brother teaching me consisted of me eating a lot of crap and over again and coming home with bruises. And my parents were like, oh my gosh. But surprisingly, even though it started out just wanting to do it as a social thing, I ended up falling in love with it. I skated from middle school to high school. Even when I went to college in Idaho, I had some skating buddies there, and we would do it during our free time. So yeah, I can still skate. I don't do it as much anymore, as I have no business trying out a new trick and possibly getting hurt. But I think it'd be so fun with, adding sports to verticals or some kind of activity that you'll have an audience for if they enjoy it. So yes, this is our pitch. Me and you, Jen.
Do it.
We can do it.
I want to ask this more. Sorry, I've taken up too much of your time, but I want to ask one more question, which is obviously you mentioned that you are from a small town. Have you convinced them of verticals? Have you created your own little vertical fandom?
I feel very grateful. I've had a lot of people reach out to me from my small town, people I haven't talked to in years, or even people I went to high school with and their parents. But I get a lot of sweet messages that are like, hey, you are representing our town very well, and we're so proud of you that you had this big dream, because it is kind of rare where I'm from, or maybe it's kind of rare in general, risking it and going to LA. I always think there's something to be said about someone who wants to go to the big city, in their 20s and really try for that dream. And regardless what happens, I think it's such a beautiful risk to take. And as I explained with the Take Me Hades, I'm Dying, I'm definitely a risk taker in a lot of ways. And it's nice for people to acknowledge, hey, I wish that I, had that in me, but we're so proud of you. And I've gotten a lot of sweet messages on that. So they're very supportive. I also have the most supportive family. My mom watches every single vertical of mine, and even the ones I'm like, there's some intimacy there. She's like, okay, I'll just go to the next episode when I think it's coming.
And that's easy to do. Skip.
Yeah, it's easy to do. So I really do have just the biggest support system. And I have had people tell me how proud they are, and obviously that's very good to hear, because as an artist sometimes you're just kind of I'm on my own journey, and I'm kind of just betting on myself. I'm a big faith person, so it's really just me and my faith. I say this all the time, that has gotten me here today. I think I started in theater when I was 9, and I think that God put it on my heart at a young age, hey, you're meant to connect, and you're meant to perform and bring joy to people, and I think this is a good platform for you to do it. And since then, I've kind of just taken every step in life and have been preparing for LA. As we know, that's another monster of an industry. And yeah, sometimes you almost feel like you're in your own world with pursuing something that maybe not a lot of people get, or they don't agree with, or whatever. And I've just, since I've been here, I've actually got the opposite feeling. I feel like everyone, even if you don't think it, like I'm getting messages from people from Mexico or Germany, and I'm just like, this is so cool to connect with people on such a bigger scale. And you don't always get that in film and short films and stuff like that. And that's what's so cool about Verticals, and why I'm so thankful, is we're connecting with people all over the world because of how big these platforms are, as you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that you're doing so much behind the scenes with these things, and you're getting the responses, and like, I mean, are you seeing people all over the world, correct? Right in on
Yeah,
these
all
things.
over the world. So I've just done the voting for the awards, and it was 16,000 people, and we did hit every continent. I was very happy. We got someone from Antarctica. There might have been a penguin, but we got someone from Antarctica voting, which made me
That's
very
so
happy.
cool.
But yeah, it was really global. One of the things I wanted to sort of really more say to you is that,
Yeah.
because I know that obviously the vertical's a new industry, and there's quite a lot of I guess, it's of a style, isn't it? But I think it's really important that you all, as actors and actresses, know that what you do matters, because I came to Verticals in a really, just, there's awful things going on in my life, and I couldn't focus on anything else. And what happens to all of us, you either see a Facebook or TikTok ad and you go, what the
Yeah.
heck is this? And you follow it and watch it. And it got me through a difficult time. It was the only thing I could focus on. And
Uh-huh.
also I talk to fans all around the world, and a lot of them are the same. Life's pretty bleak, to be honest. And a lot of people come to
Yeah.
Vertical. They're dealing with illness, they're caring, they've had bereavements. And I think Verticals are so popular at the moment because they are what we all need. We want a switch off. There's a place for the beautiful, worthy things. So, I mean, at the moment,
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's in America, but everything in the UK is about the film Adolescence, which has been on Netflix, which I know is going to be amazing with a cast, but it's like a
Yeah.
hard-hitting teenage thing. And it's like, I don't really need to watch that because I know a lot of people with really difficult stuff with teenagers. I don't need to watch it as
Yeah.
well. So I
That's
think
not the world I want to go into.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's just why I wanted to say, on like behalf of all of us, we're so grateful for all the work that you do in these things, because I know it's really intense. But honestly, I think it's actually really important what you're doing. You're giving people, 90 minutes, 2 hours away from their lives, where they just get the dopamine hit. They're happy. It's brilliant. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say to you, just it does matter what you're doing, and please be really proud of it. So
Oh, Jen, that's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And that's such a beautiful way to put it, is that, yeah, people want to, I mean, I know I do as well. Like, the world can be a really crazy and dark place, and to escape from that however you can, or just, have 2 hours where you're mindless and you're worried about something outside of your own problems, or, anxiety or depression, whatever it may be. I really appreciate you saying that. That's such a beautiful way to put it. And that is my goal, is to get people to feel something or just connect. Or if it is just hey, this is a getaway, then like that's beautiful too. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. That's so sweet.
and we have the other goal as well of getting people to try chocolate cereal with orange juice as well. Obviously, that's the other
Yeah,
goal.
we should make a big movement.
So
We're
just
like,
very
let's try
finally,
it.
I've taken up all your time. Just yeah, what have you got coming up? Is there anything you're excited you'd like to talk about? Otherwise, just thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time.
Oh my gosh, of course. No, I was so excited to jump on with you. I have nothing after this, so you're not taking any more time than I am of
Yeah.
yours. Yeah, I'm very excited. I am going to jump on a set on the 7th of April, and I will be doing a very, well, we're going back to the dark side, guys. So the rom-com only lasted so
Yeah.
long. I got an opportunity for a very, very different vertical that is a darker tone. There's twists and turns. It is a very twisted love story. The layers of this project is very, very crazy. And once again, I was thankful enough. Someone reached out to me and said, hey, I've seen your projects, I've seen your acting, and we need someone who can really go there. It needs to be very subtle. There needs to be a lot of details, and it is a little darker, and we think you can do it. And so I read through the script, and now I'm like, oh, there's some weight to this one. So I will be going on set the 7th through the 15th for a project with Net Short. So I haven't worked with Net Short yet, and I love their projects. I've looked them up. I'm really excited to work with their team. But once again, this is a script I think that no one has ever really done before. So yeah, we're going to the dark side, guys.
Amazing. Well, you do it so well, so that's okay. We'll let you go back. You do it brilliantly.
Well, it's funny. I think I was talking to my mom the other day, and I'm like, words are really powerful, because since I started acting, people would say, well, what route do you want to go down? And I was always typecasted. I continue to be typecasted, which is great, as the girl next door. But I was like, I really want to tell the nitty gritty stories. I really want to push the boundaries. I really, like a Mia Goth and people like that, or even Mikey Madison. Like, what a risk taker. And sometimes, like, yeah, just the nitty gritty characters that have a lot of raw and realness to them. That is the route I would like to go down. And it's funny that now these scripts are showing up on my desk, and I'm like, oh, these are really intense. But then I'm like, no, this is exactly what I said I wanted. It can just be a little scary to make the jump. And this one isn't intense with intimacy or anything like that. It's just a very twisted, dark story, and that's all I'll say. But that is what I'm going to jump on next. So I'm very excited.
And have you got a good stock of face masks for when you come home to relax?
I do.
Good.
I do. I'm a big skincare girl. Yeah, I have all my skin products. I'm looking at them right now, especially in the industry. I'm like, I need to do a face mask every night. Like, gotta stay youthful. But yeah, that's definitely a way I like wind down, is with self-care. So
brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.